Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Kelly Clarkson's ex Brandon laid to rest in special place when news broke that Brandon, the former husband of superstar Kelly Clarkson, had passed away. Fans across the country were taken by surprise. The story of Clarkson had once been painted as two people finding love in the glittering world of music, building a family, and creating what seemed like an unshakable bond. But as years went on, their relationship unraveled under the strain of fame, distance, and differing dreams. Even after divorce, however, there remained a shared history, 2 children, memories carved in music, and an undeniable influence on each other's lives. Now, as is laid to rest in a place deeply meaningful to both him and his family, the world is reflecting on his journey. A man who lived in the shadows of country music royalty, who wrestled with ambition and identity, and who ultimately found peace in the land that raised him. A life shaped by music. Brandon was born into a family where music was not just a career, but a legacy. His father was a well-known music manager who worked closely with icons like Reba, Brandon's stepmother, for many years. Growing up around Nashville's bright lights and backstage corridors, Brandon inherited a deep connection to the industry. Yet, unlike the stars his family managed, Brandon was never drawn to the spotlight. Instead, he built his life behind the scenes as a talent manager, eventually working with major names, including Kelly Clarkson herself. Their love story began in this world of guitars, tours, and long nights on the road. When Kelly met Brandon in 2006, sparks flew instantly, but it wasn't until years later that their romance blossomed. By 2013, they were married in an intimate Tennessee ceremony surrounded by autumn leaves, rustic charm, and promises of forever. Building a family, facing the spotlight together, Clarkson welcomed 2 children, River Rose and Remington Alexander. For years, they appeared to be a tight-knit family, splitting time between Los Angeles, Nashville, and the Montana ranch that Brandon loved so dearly. That ranch would later become both a sanctuary and a battleground, the setting of countless family memories, but also the source of bitter divorce disputes. Brandon had envisioned a life centered in Montana, away from Hollywood and Nashville's fast pace, while Kelly was pulled by her career commitments. Despite the difficulties, friends and colleagues often described Brandon as a devoted father. He sought to instill in his children a love for nature, horses, and the grounded life he found in Montana's wide-open skies. Divorce and struggles. The divorce between Clarkson and in 2020 became one of the most talked about celebrity separations of the decade. Court documents revealed financial disagreements, custody battles, and conflicting lifestyles. Clarkson was awarded primary custody of their children, while stayed in Montana. For Kelly, it was a painful but necessary chapter. She poured much of her heartbreak into her music, openly discussing the emotional toll of the split. Brandon, on the other hand, retreated further into private life, spending time on the ranch and away from the public eye. Though their marriage ended with tension, sources close to the family later revealed that Kelly and Brandon managed to find a civil path forward for the sake of their children. Co-parenting became their shared purpose, even as they lived very different lives. His final resting place when Brandon's passing was confirmed, attention turned to where he would be laid to rest. In the end, his family chose a place he loved most, the very Montana ranch that symbolized both his independence and his connection to the earth. The ranch, nestled against rolling mountains and dotted with horses, had been more than property to Brandon. It was his sanctuary. Away from the noise of the industry, he found solace in the rhythm of ranch life, feeding animals at sunrise, riding trails with his children, and watching endless skies burn gold at sunset. It was there that Brandon felt most himself, not as a manager, not as Kelly Clarkson's husband, but simply as a man rooted in the land. His resting place sits under a towering oak near the ranch's edge, overlooking a valley that stretches into the horizon. Family and close friends gathered for a private ceremony. Kelly did not speak publicly, but sources say she attended with her children, ensuring that River and Remington could say their goodbyes in a setting filled with their father's presence. Remembering Brandon, though his name often appeared in tabloid headlines, Brandon was far more complex than the controversies suggested. To his children, he was a loving father who built forts in the woods, taught them to ride horses, and reminded them that life wasn't just about fame or fortune, but about moments of quiet joy. To those who worked with him, he was a determined manager who fought fiercely for his clients, though his career path eventually led him away from the industry. To Kelly, he was once a great love, a man who helped inspire some of her most personal music, both in joy and in sorrow. In remembering Brandon, many point to his desire to live authentically. Though he faced criticism, particularly during the divorce, he sought to define his life on his own terms. For him, the ranch represented freedom and identity, a place where his children could always feel at home. Kelly's quiet tribute, Kelly Clarkson, has not released a public statement beyond asking for privacy for her children. However, those close to her say she has chosen to honor Brandon in her own way. Sources mention that she played a role in choosing the music that accompanied his private ceremony, songs that reflected his love for country roots and acoustic simplicity. For Clarkson, the chapter with Brandon is bittersweet. He was a partner who shared some of her brightest and darkest years. He was the father of her beloved children. Their journey may have ended painfully, but his life and legacy will forever be intertwined with hers. A legacy in the land in the end, Brandon's story is not one of headlines or legal battles, but of a man who sought peace in simplicity. The Montana Ranch, once the center of so much conflict, now stands as his final legacy, a living reminder to his children of who their father was and what he valued most. For River and Remington, the ranch will always carry echoes of laughter, of horseback rides, of stories told under starry skies. It is not just where their father lived, but where he rests, ensuring his presence will always be part of the landscape they grew up with. Closing reflection, life often weaves together love and loss, joy and struggle. Brandon's journey was no different. He loved deeply, wrestled with expectations, and ultimately found his own path, even if it diverged from those around him. Laid to rest beneath Montana's endless sky, he leaves behind not only memories, but also a place of grounding for his children. For Kelly Clarkson, his story is inseparable from her own, a reminder of the complexities of love and the enduring ties of family. And for those who knew him, Brandon's resting place is more than a farewell. It is a promise that his spirit remains in the quiet rustle of the ranch grass, in the songs of the wind through the valley, and in the hearts of those who carry his memory forward.